Now, what did Israel do? What did Israel do when they hungered? Well, let's go back and look at Exodus chapter 16. You already know they failed, but let's look at their failure. Don't you like looking at someone's failure? Isn't that so encouraging for you? Just kidding. Exodus chapter 16. Look at how they responded to their time of testing. You and I go through tests. How do we respond? Look at how Israel responded. Exodus chapter 16, and they journeyed, this is verse 1, and they journeyed from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness, the desert of Sin. You know you're in trouble if you're in a desert called Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai on the 15th day of the second month after they departed from the land of Egypt. Then the whole congregation of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. They're in the wilderness and they start complaining. They're in this time of testing. And they respond by complaining about it. And the children of Israel said to them, "Oh, that we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the pots of meat, and we ate bread to the full." Isn't it interesting how they forget the slavery and the harsh taskmasters when they were in Egypt? They just remember the pots of meat and the bread. Look what they say at the end of verse 3. "For you have brought us out here into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." You just brought us out here to kill us. God, you just want to kill us out here. It's the only reason you delivered us out of our slavery. It's the only reason you saved us, so you could kill us. But do you ever have that kind of attitude in a test? We're going to die. We're not going to make it. They're going to foreclose on the house. They're going to repossess the car. They're going to take the kids' braces back. Right? We've all thought we were going to die. We've all been at tests where we thought this is going to be the end of us. We're never going to make it through. And we start complaining. And we start blaming God. And why'd you bring me into this? Why'd you do this? Why'd you bring me here? Why am I going through this? Lord, I was happier back in Egypt. You brought me out into this desert just to kill me and kill my family. We doubt God. We doubt God's love for us. We doubt God's care for us. And God has brought them into the wilderness to teach them to trust Him. He has allowed them to hunger to teach them to trust Him. That He will be faithful. Now turn with me over to Psalm 78. Psalm 78. Psalm 78 talks about the children of Israel in their time in the wilderness. Verse 12, Psalm 78, verse 12. "Marvelous things He did in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, in the field of Zoan. He divided the sea and caused them to pass through the Red Sea. And He made the waters stand up like heaps. In the daytime also He led them with a cloud by day, and all the night with a light of fire, the fire by night. He split the rocks in the wilderness, and He gave them drink in abundance like the depths. He also brought streams out of the rock and caused waters to run down like rivers. But they sinned even more against Him by rebelling against the Most High in the wilderness. And they tested God in their hearts. In their hearts. By asking for the food of their fancy. Yes, they spoke against God. They said, can God prepare a table in the wilderness? They doubted God. Can God provide for us? That's how they're testing God in the wilderness. Can God even provide for us? Behold, look, he struck the rock so that waters gushed out and the streams overflowed. But can he give us bread also? They've seen God work these amazing miracles. But they're questioning God's faithfulness, his provision. Yeah, he brought water out of a rock, but can he provide bread? What? Can he provide meat for his people? Therefore the Lord heard this, and he was furious. So fire was kindled against Jacob, and anger also came up against Israel. Look at verse 22. Because they did not believe in God and did not trust in his salvation. That's the test. Do they believe in God? Do they trust him? And that is always the test for us. Do I believe God? Do I trust him? Do I believe his promises to me? Do I believe his word to me? Am I going to submit to him and obey him and not act in my own flesh or in my own power, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's painful, even when it would be so easy for me to turn stones into bread and end this misery and get some relief from the gnawing in my stomach? Will I still trust him even then and not act in my own power? Will I continue to walk in the Spirit? Or when it gets hard, will I start walking in the flesh? Jesus passed the test. When he hungered in the wilderness, he passed the test. He passed the test where Israel failed. And he passed the test where we often fail also. When he was hungry in the wilderness, even to the point of starving to death, he didn't give in and use his own power as the Son of God to get him out of that. He trusted the Father. He continued to trust the Father. In John chapter 4, Jesus said, my food, listen, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. That's my food. My food is to do his will and to finish his work.